Is it running?
Running.
Does it say wreck?
Yeah.
Her husband comes home dull with coal dust deliberately to grime the sink and foul towels and let her learn with scrubbing brush and scrubbing board the stubborn character of money. And let her learn through what kind of dust he has earned his thirst and the right to quench it, and what sweat he has exchanged for his money and the blood weight of money. He'll humble her with new light on her obligations. The fried woody chips kept warm 2 hours in the stove are only part of her answer. Hearing the rest, he slams them to the fire back and is away around the house and singing "Come back to Sorrento" in a voice of resounding corrugated iron. Her back has bunched into a hump as an insult. For they will have their rights. Their jurors are to be assembled from the little crumbs of soot. Their brief goes straight up to heaven, and nothing more is heard of it.
Oh my God.
Do you want a minute? No, do you want Heptonstall? 2 short poems, right? And then you got to do 3 Sylvia Plaths. Are you recording all this?
I'm recording.
All right, okay. Theology. No, the serpent did not seduce Eve to the apple. All that's simply corruption of the facts. Adam ate the apple. Eve ate Adam. The serpent ate Eve. This is the dark intestine. The serpent, meanwhile, sleeps off his meal in paradise, smiling to hear God's querulous calling. So where are we?
We are on the Rochdale Canal,
Yeah,
2 minutes away from Hebden Bridge Station. Leeds is that way, Mythen Ride.
yeah,
This way is Todmorden.
yeah.
And we're going to buy some firewood and then going to Sylvia Plath's grave to pay.
We are, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
And here we are, look at... Look like you could be on a fashion shoot. You know what I mean? That's it. That's it.
Well, we're in Hebden Bridge. We're just going to go in search of some supplies,
Right.
some food. We're walking down this street here, which is parallel to the Rochdale Canal, and is very much the Lewis of the North. This is Calderdale.
That's what we think. Yeah.
It's been tasteful for years. It's had a Steiner school for 30 years. That says everything.
Yeah. And all the shops are really chintzy and sort of like there's a here at Crossley Mill Nursery, and there's a kind of yoga place
There's lots of that.
straight ahead of us.
Pilates, darling. There's
Pilates,
places,
yeah. Hang on a minute. Let's.
Stone-fired earth, kind of.
Yeah, so everything is stone fired,
We
right?
might even have Farrow and Ball.
It's cute as fuck, right? Right, here we go. We're in here. Look. We're in here. Rolling.
It's ever so bright.
Yeah,
This kind of winter light that blinds you
yeah.
from the corner of the street. And
Where are we though?
we're in Heppenstall on the tops. And behind us is the church where
And there.
Sylvia Plath Hughes is buried. Somewhere towards the back. Next to a council estate.
Is it really?
Well, this is these would have been pebble back council houses before. And then the cottages behind it, they're really old. 18th century.
But there, look. Okay, so we're trying to find a way to the church that you can see.
You think so?
So this is the Heptonstall Trail, an ancient village explained and explored.
The
Okay.
Weavers' Cottages, the Weavers' Square, top of the town, Quakers' Plaque. We can go to the village stocks, the lockup.
Yeah. And there is, I think, look, there's a graveyard. I'm trying to, here, right? And then there's the new graveyard up here. So I'm not sure.
Let's go and find out.
Wait a minute, where are we now? We are here. Where are we?
Well, let's go down to the museum. It's down this way, isn't it? Come on, Martin. Oh yeah, this is it.
Heptonstall, black village of gravestones. The hills collapsed skull, whose dreams die back where they were born. Skull of a sheep, whose meat melts under its own rafters. Only the flies leave it. Skull of a bird, the great geographies drain to sutures of cracked windows sills. Life tries, death tries, the stone tries, only the rain never tires.
What are you saying?
I don't feel like it's the right place for her to have been put. But maybe it's fitting.
Why not?
It's just so lonely and so bleak.
Yeah.
And, I don't know, it feels like it's not, I don't know, I just don't feel like it's right. And where is she?
Yeah, we haven't
I
found.
don't want to walk on it, I don't want to walk over the graves because it's so sunken, you know?
Yeah. Is if you look at this church, right, and then you think of Blake's idea of God, and everything that lives is holy, and of joy, and of love, and then you look at this.
Dad died a long time ago.
You look at this church, and is what comes to mind joy,
Quite the opposite.
right?
And
Look at
life is
it.
The opposite of life.
Look at it.
Mm.
It's fucking hideous,
Diabolical.
isn't it?
Yeah. Inside the church, the saints will be all blue. Floating on their delicate feet. Their arms and faces stiff with holiness. Smells like a church.
Here you go, look. See, why would you choose? Edge is exactly the wrong poem, I think. But anyway, there she is. There you go, self. So this is the old church that I think, the ruins of the old church, which date back to something like the 13th century.
700 years ago.
Yeah, so that's telling. Do you want to tell us a few things about it while I mooch around with my camera?
Yeah, this was the original church. And there was a huge storm in 1847.
A fire?
Storm.
Right.
So rather than the one that's over there, but it cost £6,600.
Go on, tell us a bit more.
The oldest parts were built in the mid-1200s in local Britstone. Over the following centuries it was remodelled in stages and would often have been a busy construction site.
It's very funny because I haven't an ear for music, but I hear the music and the rhythm, which somehow I don't think about, you know? It's funny. I have a visual imagination. For instance, my inspiration is paintings and not music when I go to some other art form. What do you think, Ted? I mean, I see these things very clearly, and I have visual images, and yet the sound itself is terrifically strong.
Yes, it is.
Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yes, I tell that's the great pleasing quality.
I mean, I feel ideally I'd like to be musical without being artificial, which I think is sometimes difficult, and to be able to speak out, you know, straight out the way you talk, which is again is terrifically hard, while getting all the illusions and richness in that you get in rhetoric, which, you know, I mean, it's like eating cake and wanting to have it, I guess.
So who are you, and tell us your story?
Yeah, okay, so my name's Rob Owen. I go to different places with historical value and content, abbeys and places. I'm here in this place today to go around the grave of David Hartley. David Hartley was the king of Heptonstall.
Right.
He was the one that he learned to trade in Birmingham as an ironsmith. He brought his trade back up here because everybody was out of work and starving. He introduced them to the art of clipping coins, Portuguese coins from the 1700s. They were legal tender, everybody got involved, and there was a few crimes committed. One of the councillors who came from London to see what was going on because they produced £3.5 million worth of currency. It was all into, you know.
What, by cheating they did?
Yeah.
Right,
yeah.
okay.
And so what,
Good on him, yeah.
Yeah, look at what Brexit did, you know,
exactly.
7%, 17%. This is Marley.
Hello, Marley.
Anyway, so then what happened was this councillor came up and he kind of worked out what was going on. So they killed him.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not going to tell you anymore because you need to do some research. And it's
Okay.
different places round here.
When you say they killed him, you mean they killed him as opposed to trying him and then hanging him?
No, sorry, the guy that came up from London on behalf of the government to
Yeah.
instigate, David Hartley and his henchmen, got him on the road and killed him.
Oh, I
However,
see.
one of the people that was involved in that murder couldn't keep his gob shut. So it kind of got back,
Right.
and the whole plot then became nationwide. And I'm going to stop there because you need to do more digging.
Yeah, we will.
There's a
We
plaque
will.
on the road
Thanks for
where
that.
he got killed. There's
Right.
also the memorial, and there's David Hartley's house. If you Google Bank Top House,
Yeah.
his house, it was so successful because you can't see his house from outside.
Right.
All of the work was you look, all you can see is 2 hills. You've got to go to it, and that was how he was able to get away with it
Amazing.
because they were secretly.
Wow.
But for every guinea they put into this thing in clips, they get a guinea and a shilling, which was a lot of money.
Yeah.
So that's the
Okay,
end.
we will do more research. Marley, what do you think?
What do you think, Marley?
What do you think, Marley?
We was in Haworth. Have
What do you
done
reckon?
Haworth?
What do
Yeah,
you?
we went there last time.
The dirty water.
Yeah.
They all died young, and
Yeah,
you
I
know.
know.
Well, that's what we said. Like
We were working out the average. age,
35,
about
something like that.
28, 30, yeah.
Yeah. The water was through the grave,
Yeah.
and although their house was higher, it still went round.
Yeah.
And the irony of that was Charlotte Bronte spent so much time at the Waterfall of Inspiration. That water was beautifully clean. If she'd have drank that instead of going a mile down to her house, she'd have lived a lot longer.
I didn't know it was because of dirty water.
Water's terrible,
So
yeah.
it's it's a big thing, and for me as an historian, I've done extensive research, and just later than that, they built that second reservoir. So that tells you something. They've diverted a Victorian piece of art to kind of get round this problem.
Right.
But I'm a geek. I've got history. I've got Facebook history pages and everything.
Okay.
Because I love going to places. I go Ireland. I go Abbeys. Because you
Yeah.
can turn back the clock.
Yeah.
You can't beat it. Look at these houses.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
Well, and we met you here because you were looking at this,
Yeah.
which is the site of the cockpit. Presumably that's a kind of observation place, is
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. They can have a look around and see if his men have come because he was a threat. He took half of Europe. He did.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
He was the first European war, wasn't it? But that's why these houses have got numbers on them and street names. Napoleon.
Yeah, but Napoleonic War, he's going to come across in the south of England. He's not going to cross to the north.
Who knows? They were, they were up in Belgium. They could have come.
All right.
They didn't know. They were
All right.
scared. That's why they had to take the fight over there. But it weren't just French. It was Spanish and Germans. It was kind of people that they tagged along to. And it was complicated. All war.
Everything's complicated. You know my theory? Because we're both teachers, English teachers, right? The truth, any truth, is the truth is always the same. It's complicated, but it's also really simple.
Yeah.
And what good teaching is about in our subject, I think, is to balance them both and say, okay, simply, King Lear is the story of this, back of an envelope. And then you complicate it, but you have to do both.
You're criteria led. You're led by your syllabus, and you can only stray so far. And I was going to be a history teacher, but I thought I can't lie because you kind of, like you've said, you're bending it to create
Of course.
his story, not her story or not that story. It's his,
Yeah, yeah.
And that's what it's all about.
Accurate
It's the
narratives,
truth.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Narratives that
Yeah.
support.
Yeah, I mean, I do all
the
quirky
whole
things. I mean,
structures.
Hitler came to Liverpool, just before the war. People don't know. His brother-in-law, Lewis, he'd gone to Ireland because he'd fallen out with Nazism. When he was in Ireland, he was working in an hotel. He was good with horses, so obviously he met a woman, but because he wasn't a Catholic, he couldn't get married. And then he came to Liverpool. He lived in Liverpool for a long time. Hitler came to see him. Lewis had 4 brothers, 4 sons. 2 of them went and fought for his uncle, Hitler, and 2 of them went to fight for the Americans. One of them became a great American fighter pilot, but they was told to extinct, the bloodline. But did he die or did he go to Argentina?
Hey!
You know?
We have
with
got
that
to.
one.
That's well, all right. We will find out about, won't we? The forger guy.
Thank you.
David King, the only king nobody's heard about,
Okay.
King David.
All right.
Enjoy your trip.
Lovely to meet you.
Same goes.
Have a great day.
Take it easy.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh,
Wow. There you go. See? So, Alice, this is what you've been missing, right?
All because you wanted a spine.
All because you were too frit to throw a sickie. Think what you've been missing. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh. Summertime, we'll have to lower up.
We will. Well done. Well done. Are we rolling, Bob? So, we went the wrong way because we're both shit at map reading. And we met, as you've just seen, David and Marley. Lovely time. Anyway, so we're now in a new graveyard, which is where Sylvia is buried. Sylvia. See, that's sexist, isn't it? Is it? It's a bit. Where Sylvia Plath. Sylvia Plath Hughes. What's in her name? Is buried, and we haven't found it yet. But if you swing the camera around, you can see.
It's definitely the new graveyard. This was built after 1911 when the other one became too crowded.
Yeah. So we're gonna try and find out where she's buried, and hopefully Karen's gonna read The Moon and the Yew Tree. Is that right?
The moon and the yew tree. This is the light of the mind, cold and planetary. The trees of the mind are black, the light is blue. The grasses unload their griefs on my feet as if I were God, prickling my ankles and murmuring of their humility. Fumy spiritus mists inhabit this place, separated from my house by a row of headstones. I simply cannot see where there is to get to. The moon is no door. It is a face in its own right, white as a knuckle and terribly upset. It drags the sea after it like a dark crime. It is quiet with the o-gape of complete despair. I live here. Twice on Sunday, the bells startle the sky, 8 great tongues affirming the resurrection. At the end, they somberly bong out their names. The yew tree points up. It has a Gothic shape. The eyes lift after it and find the moon. The moon is my mother. She's not sweet like Mary. Her blue garments unloose small bats and owls. How I would like to believe in tenderness, the face of the effigy, gentled by candles, bending, on me in particular, its mild eyes. I have fallen a long way. Clouds are flowering blue and mystical over the face of the stars. Inside the church, the saints will be all blue, floating on their delicate feet over the cold pews, their hands and faces stiff with holiness. The moon sees nothing of this. She is bald and wild, and the message of the yew tree is blackness, blackness and silence.
Scary as fuck.
Don't film this, it's terrible.
No, it's nice.
Chest infection and freezing cold Yorkshire. Oh dear. It's freezing.
Any final words? You've got 1% left on the thing.
I have no final words. There's more to come. In June, put it away.